So, policy formation, that is to identify a needed area and start getting the approval and things like that, get the political support. And then real doing it is the formulation, putting together, formulating, like mixing up things and coming up with the. So, refers to the shaping of a political demand into a set of values for social action. The process of policy formulation implies the adoption of a social demand by political and power groups, its analysis in terms of social interaction and its enunciations which provide the guidance for their technical implementation. Final outcome of such a process is a policy instrument. Ultimately, end up with something how to put that into practice. Then the third stage is after now you have developed the policy. Can you implement after developing just a technical group of people who know help and you develop a good policy. Now policy is there. Can you implement it? No, before implementing, you need yes, it has to be approved, it has to be agreed upon. That is called the policy formalization. Formalization. That is the third step. This is the startup process formation, identifying the priority area, packaging it, and then real nitty-gritty of putting it together and then getting it approved. National policies has to go to the who has to approve it ultimately. If you want to implement something nationally throughout the country. Yeah, Parliament is the supreme body. Parliament has to approve. So it has to go to as a cabinet paper to the policy to go to the cabinet, and they will get the Parliament put it to the Parliament, and Parliament will approve that policy. Then only you can implement the policy. Then after approval, you put it into practice. We call it policy implementation. Policy implementation policy is a very broad statement. It just tells you some priority areas and things. That has to be converted into programs, like the policy says priority, mother and child. Then we have to have a mother and child program. So you need to develop broad programs. Then you have to work out detailed programs with budgets when you are going to operate, put it into practice. That is called operational planning. Policy implementation is done in stages. And then time to time you can't have a policy throughout. Time to time things change, therefore the policies also have to be changed. Those are called policy reform. Then the word policy environment. Policy environment is a policy space, an arena, which all this happens is called the environment. Here the environment consists of institutions, individual actors, interest groups, occasionally the citizenry. So it can differ from country to country. So everybody is interested. The politicians are interested. There are different stakeholders. The people are interested in that. So they are also part of the environment. The policy is implemented. It affects people, so and the environment. So that is the environment, the current socio-economic situation, everything that is in the environment. Then we have policy makers and policy analysts. Those are names given to particular groups. People who they are doing policy make processes. Then there are people who are experts in analyzing policies. Time to time you will see people coming and analyzing various policies and this is important. What do you mean by a policy instrument? What do you mean by a policy instrument? That is, the policy as it is, to put it into practice, you need something. You can't just put it in and say, you implement. Policy just says it's broad statement. You can't practice that policy. To practice that policy, you need some instruments. What is the most commonest instrument that we use? Now, for example, when motorcyclists started getting accident and number of people with injuries going up and getting killed or disabled, they came up with some policies. And then how did they put that policy into the policy was brought in that right, they have to wear a helmet. Or motorcyclists should wear a helmet. Then how did we put that into practice? That how to find, to find you must have some laws. So they brought in some laws, regulations, laws. Say if you don't wear a helmet when you drive a motorcycle, you will be fined and this amount out. So if that is not there, the police can't stop for people and charge them. So therefore, you need what is the instrument there? It's the law. The law is the instrument. The policy is motorcycle. You can't have the policy, but you can't implement it. Even the policy is there. Policy says these people have to wear a helmet. Nothing more than that. If the law is there, only police can catch them if they don't wear a helmet, and then the fines are also being determined. The law says no. Therefore, that is a policy. So we need policy instruments to put something into operation. So it can be sometimes a government order. Sometimes midnight, what happens? Right? They put the gallon for tomorrow, filtered by society. The policy decision, wait, and how the instrument is the gazette. Instrumenting the gazette. They publish the gazette, and that is the instrument. So it has no law there, there is a gazette order, notification, government order. Sometimes they give, to ensure the policy is implemented, they give incentives. In the 1950s, we came up with a policy about family planning policy. So they came up with a policy, and then how to implement that. People offered sterilization, people didn't come up to get the sterilization. It's as a birth control. What did the government do? Yeah, they gave an incentive for sterilization. We are paying 500 rupees. Then people started coming and getting them sterilized. So there the instrument is an incentive. Then in recent times, government has a policy that we need to improve the agricultural production. What is the main means of increasing the production? Fertilizer. Right. So but people didn't use fertilizers. So what did they do? They give us some fertilizer subsidy over the SADA. Then people start. So the policy instruments can be different. But most commonly one is the law. You must have a law, legal policy to implement the policy. It can be a government order or a gazette notification. Those are national policies, right? If it is, say, in the Ministry of Health wants to make a policy decision, They don't have to go to the national level. They can make their own decision. Say your own hospital. You want to change the visiting hours. You don't have to go to the parliament. You can make the decision at your institution level. These are our hospital working hours. So the Ministry of Health have decided they want to have extended working hours. OPDs, people can't come because they are working, they are going evening service. So, was it necessary to go to the parliament? No. The Secretary Health Sector circular. From such a day, teaching hospital OPD should be open from 4 to 6 p.m. It can be done in your institution. So, so policy instrument, the word is important. Now you understand what a policy instrument. Policy instrument can be law, some order, or just a notification, circular. It can be circular, depending on the type level of policy. So these are some examples. Legislation, the policy instrument, this is why we have that. The objective of having this policy instrument. Legislation. Banning of, there was some time back, there was a problem, genetically modified food being imported to the country. So they came up with a ban on importing genetically modified food. Why? That is to satisfy the community. And the free health services is to ensure that equity, that is the policy objective, equity. Free health service, if we start user fees, if we charge, then we are not equal because poor people can't access the care. So it's a free health service. And then licensing, registration of private medical care. Earlier we didn't have that. Now private sector, they have to have private health institutions authority. Every healthcare person or institution has to. That is for what? To ensure the quality. Nursing homes, they have to register themselves. So then incentives. So the policy process starting with formulating starting, and then after that you develop the strategies, and then from the strategy you develop plans to implement them, and then you go ahead and implement the policies, and then you need to evaluate the policies. And then if you don't have not achieved, then you start again the process changing the policy. So it's really a cyclical process of policy, managing the policies. There are three basic things: policy planning, policy implementation, policy evaluation. Like any managerial process, those are the three basic functions. First, you have to see the current situation, analyze and develop the policy, then based on that develop the strategies, based on that develop broad programs, right? And then you put that into practice, and then you look at it, that will be called evaluation, and then from the finding you restart again, reprogram. I will skip those sometimes. Okay, we'll take a short break there. start the next session. What time you want to take a break? Can we go till 10:30? We learned in the last lecture what we understand by the policy, defining a policy, what a policy is. Then we learned different types of policies. Two types of policy. We divided firstly into two categories. What are those two? Explicit policies, implicit policies. Explicit policies are those documented. Then we divided the policies into, depending on the level of policy. Right? We have a top national policies or political statement, then we have program policies, then we have operational policies. Then we learned what are the determinants of policies. What determines a policy? What are the things that determine? Firstly, the demand for the public. Political pressures, yes, they can't do something about this, and then they will pressurize, and then we can come up with the policy. Political pressures. Thirdly, yeah, national priorities. Yes, national priorities. We have to consider. You can't have policies for everything. You have to select the priority areas and we have priority policies for those priority areas. Then, socio-economic situation, yeah, that determines, depending on the economic situation, you might have to come up with socio-economic situation. A lot of people were migrating in the last couple of decades, but there were a lot of problems with regard to their health. So we came up with the migration health policy. Now there's a migration health policy. Under that, they are screening and all that. People coming to the country also, they have to do undergo screening. Earlier there was no screening, anybody can come. The Chinese, Indians were coming and working. They must be real diseases. Now they can't just come in, they are screened because of this policy. Then we looked at the communities that you have right a lot of problems, issues. So now there is a policy and the law came from the policy under the migration policy. Women having a child under 5 years cannot migrate. So that is, law is there. The policy is there to safeguard the mothers and the children's health. Okay, so that like that priority, national priorities. Then finally, what are the other determinants? Yeah. International agencies. They are the determinants which will determine why we need to have a policy. Then we learned about the goals of why, what do we expect from a policy? What are the goals, basic goals? We learned 5 basic goals of health policy. What is the first goal? Why we have a policy? First one is equity, fairness. Everybody will be treated. That's why we have a policy, so that everybody will be treated. If there's no policy, poor people will not be treated. Then, secondly, allocative efficiency, how you divide your money, help you to get the results. Then, technical efficiency, how we do the way, and then fourthly, yeah, community satisfaction. People have to learn. Your policies are there to serve the people. So therefore, ultimately, the goal is the policies to satisfy the people. But then finally, quality of care. We want to ensure quality of care. Therefore, we need to have policies. So policy goals. Policy determines factors which will determine the policies. Factors will be the goal or the objective of the policy. Then we learned about the policy development process. We firstly divided it into three stages. Policy development process. To start with policy formation, then formulation, putting it together, and then getting it approved, formalization. Then after formalizing, then only you can implement it. You put it into practice. You develop programs, you develop strategies, and then you develop action plans. And then you implement the policies. And then you evaluate the policies, and then you reprogram it if you have not achieved. So that is the whole policy cycle. Then let's look at the health policy. What are the policies Sri Lanka had in the past? Have you, do you know when we started developing health policies? Do we have had the policies? How long? Yes, that is the medicinal drug policy. That's the that is for drugs policy. At least 30, 40 years ago. Before that, we didn't have any policies. How long can we go back? Recent times. Yeah. Most of the policies started coming with some form, but policies started. But did we have any health policies before that? And go back to thousands of years. There is evidence that we had some form of health policies even the king's times. How many of you have got to believe that? How many of you have seen the hospital at the foot of the mountain? That's a hospital there. What is that? Ruins of the hospital. People can't believe even at that time, even the sanitation facilities and all, they are over there. We have not visited that. Next time to go climbing the championship of BC. Evidence is there that they consider that they are the world's oldest hospital. There's no other hospital having that history. Evidence is available that is considered the world's oldest hospital. So that means at that time, kings had some policies establishing hospitals. But in recent times, it's really after the independence only really they made some attempts to develop health policies. They got down Dr. J.H.L. Compston. He's an Australian. Through the Rockefeller Foundation, he was asked to come to Sri Lanka and look at the system. And he came up with a very good report, which is called the Compston Report, presented to the Parliament as a sessional paper. Very outstanding report. Even today, most of the things are practiced based on that report system. And from that report, they developed what is called the Health Services Act, number 12 of 1952. Even today, they are following this. Time to time, they have been modifications, but the whole health system in the country is now by reset. That is, to convert the policy into practice. There is a effect of money. Then, 1954, the policy reform took place. Before 1954, the whole country was administered directly from the Ministry of Health. The whole country was administered by the Ministry of Health. In 1954, they decentralized. They established 5 what are called SHS divisions, Superintendent of Health Services. The country was divided into 50. The current districts, currently have 25, 26. So that time they had 15 areas. So each one they appointed a superintendent of health services. Now they are called RDHS, so Regional Directors of Health Services. So the RDHS system started decentralized health services in 1954. That policy decision made and changed, administration is decentralized. Then, before 1966, the department and the ministry were separate. 2 separate entities. Even similar with the education, agriculture, others also, the department was separate from the ministry. Now the department and the ministry are separate. Both are in the same building, same together. You can't divide. This is separate department. This is a ministry because it is amalgamated. So before 66, it was separate. Several ministries were like that. Then they appointed a committee. They looked into the functioning of these departments and ministries, how they function. And when they studied, they found a lot of problems because the ministry and the department separate. Especially they mentioned ministries like education, health should be together because a lot of technical things are involved. Therefore, the earlier the ministry is only policy making and decision making, and that's all. And most of those people look to people, and they were all non-technical. Civil service administration. The department was technical, but a lot of technical decisions are made in the ministry. They don't give them more technical support from there. So this committee, 1966, recommended that the ministries like health and education should be together with the department. So 1966, they joined the ministry and the department. That was a policy decision. And today, it functions together for the second health and education. Then there was a famous conference called Alma-Ata Conference on Primary Health Care in 1978. Alma-Ata is the capital of Kazakhstan, the main state of the Soviet Russia. All the countries' ministers and the ministers, everybody met there, and they found that people in some countries are enjoying the best of health. Some countries, people are not enjoying the facilities, techniques, and all that. So there is some discrepancy. They said this is a very unsatisfactory status. Therefore, they have to adapt something to ensure equity. So they came up with a declaration called the Alma-Ata Declaration. Primary health care, one primary health care, integrated health care, affordable cost to provide everybody access to care. So we signed that declaration in 1980, that is called the Health Charter, and we followed that primary health care. What was the goal of the Alma-Ata Conference? The conference, they decided, they thought that people are unequal in health care. Some people are having best, Not within countries, even within countries, there's this parity. Some people enjoying all the best of care, some people don't get the care. So they say these are very unsatisfactory. You know, all are equal. We all have to be treated equally. Therefore, we must have a goal. What was the goal they say? It was a very famous goal. Yes, health for all by the year 2000. They say the goal. So if all the countries followed, we also followed that. We signed the health charter. And we got a lot of improvement, especially in immunization. Diabetes control, by following that, we did health for all, but at least went somewhere. So it gave us, the goal gave us direction to work together. Right. So that is another policy change that we adapted. And then 1987, again, the health policy we had to change because what? Because of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. The provincial councils were set up. Therefore, the health council was asked to follow that. And some of the services were given to the provinces to run, especially preventive services and the small hospitals. Handed over to the provinces to run. Provincial ministries of health and the departments of health were established. So that is decentralization again, revolution to the provincial council. That's again a policy reform, major policy reform that we had. And under that we established system. Then real effort to make a national health policy was started in 1992. The then president, who appointed a task force to develop a national health policy. So it was chaired by Professor Alphonse Kaum, Professor Mohammed, and he was the conductor of the Philharmonic Orchestra, and all people were engaged in that, and they came up with a report, task force report. It was called the formulation of national health policy for Sri Lanka. They came up with a report, which is called the task force report. It's available in the libraries. There's an abridged version, shorter version, and the full report. And based on that report, a policy statement was developed 1996. 1996, a policy statement or national health policy was developed. Let me show you a copy of that. It was just a few pages of document. National Health Policy 1996. Just to give an introduction, what we have achieved so far and all that, and then the policy broad aim of the health policy is to further increase the life expectancy, improving the quality of life, right? And then they identified the priority areas: maternal and child health, adolescent health, malnutrition, nutrition deficiency, problems of elderly, malaria, oral, like that. They identified the priority areas. And then they came up with broad strategies, how they are going to do that, broad strategies, and then how it will be implemented. That's all. That is the very broad statement which tells you the present situation in the first paragraph, then what we expect from the policy goals or aims, and then what are the priority areas and how to implement. That's all in a policy statement. We call it a policy statement or national policy. Need not be in detail. So then those policies were implemented, and in 1997, the then president also wanted to have a policy. So they developed another policy, but that was not agreed upon by the stakeholders. Some people didn't agree. Only certain things which were agreed were followed up, like policies like improving one big hospital in each district as a district general hospital. That came up from the 97 policy document. It was agreed by everybody, it was followed, and now we have one district general hospital in each district. Right? But the other thing, they come other thing in, so that you can't find a copy even of that policy, 97 policy, because the many stakeholders didn't agree with it. So you have to have extensive, you have to consult the stakeholders when you are developing a policy. Then the next attempt was in 2003. We started a process called with World Bank and JICA assistance to develop a health master plan, which started in 2003 and developed a strategic framework based on that developed policy and master plan. That was launched in 2007. That came up to 2016, 10-year period, health master plan. And then the current one was developed last year. We released last year, 2016 to 2025. That is also available on the website, but it's not a good document if you compare with the previous one. There are some problems in that document. You go to the website. How many of you have visited the health website, health page? Better go and probe there. It's a good website. You can learn a lot of things. Right? In that, there is it is health.uv.lk. There's a subject called publications. Under that, you have all the policies also there. The master plan is also there. The current one. Right. So, any questions about the development history? Right. History of health policy in Sri Lanka. We have had policies even during the king's time, thousands of years ago. Evidence is there. There are some ruins of hospitals. And there was a policy, right? The king appoints a person called Rosen to maintain the city clean. The PHI, currently PHI. The books, history book says the king appoints. He's called the Nagaradutrika. He had his responsibility. So even at that time they were thinking about the environmental. And establishing hospitals, all that has been the king's policies. So there have been some form of policies at that time. But real development started with in the 19th after the independence. Constant report, which landmark. We looked at the health system and that based on that health services we did cross India and up on at least one big modifications currently. And then 1978 Almata, we made some few changes with regard to pursuing the health for our school, the private healthcare coach. And then 1987, the decentralization process with the establishment of provincial councils. And then 1992 task force for developing health policy. Based on that, in 1996 we came up with the national health policy statement. And then 97 task force, few recommendations. The report is not there. then no policy came out of that, only the last one. And then the real effort was made in 2003 to set up a health master plan. The first current chapter is the policy part. The health master plan 2007 to 2006. And then the current policy is spelled out in the health master plan 2016 to 2025. This is what you will find in the health website. This is the current policy document. You saw that 1996 one, and you can see that it's in all three languages here. That one also is there. Too complicated and not really a policy statement. It's hodgepodge of things, too many things to put together. It starts with the introduction. Current situation. Then the policies, levels of policies, and then too much of detail there. Mission, and a policy statement. So all these are